So I've said many times here on the channel that Donald Trump is not about putting America first. He's about putting Trump first. He's always going to look out for himself and his own special interest. And anything else that he's saying is nothing more than a catchphrase or a cliche that he can put on a t-shirt and grift it to his audience. But it's so crazy to me to watch him just constantly move the hoops in the mental gymnastics game, because I was just on here yesterday talking about how disappointed I was in Democrats because they didn't do what the American people voted for them to do, which was hold the line and don't cave. So Donald Trump went from saying we're all about America first, and MAGA was like, we have to put America first. And I can't count the arguments that I would have with people talking about the war in Ukraine, and I would say, hey, it's very important that we stand with Ukraine because we got to hold democracy in Europe as well, because America's standing in the world matters. And they would say, no, man, you got to put America first. It's all about America. And now here's Trump saying that America is the world. Take a look.
I believe these deals. But so when somebody makes a statement about he's devoting time to the world, well, the world is the United States, because if the world's in trouble or if the world is ripping us off, you know, the world was ripping us off before I came here. Europe was getting massive tariffs. They were sending us 9-10 million cars a year. We were sending them none. They were not taking our agriculture. We were taking massive amounts of their. It was so unfair. Now we have a deal where $950 billion is coming into the United States because of me and because of tariffs. So if I don't do all these things, our country is doing very poorly. So, you know, it's easy to say, oh, don't worry about the world. But the world is turning out to be our biggest customer. The world was on fire. And we could have been in that fire very easily if you didn't have a president that knew what he was doing.
First of all, we did have a president in Joe Biden that knew exactly what he was doing. He may have slowed down a little bit in his old age, but he was on top of things and he was getting things done. That was nothing more than verbal diarrhea. But I cannot imagine being the guy standing there with your arms folded behind him and wondering what he's going to say next, because he will go completely off the script and completely lose the plot. And it's so crazy to me because you would think that when they all walked out of the room, one of them would turn to him and say, but Mr. President, haven't you always been about America first in the past? And why are you suddenly now saying that America is the world? Because that's an argument that we have made against Trump supporters when they've said that we shouldn't be, you know, helping Ukraine. It's crazy to me. And what's crazy to me is thinking back on the phrase flip-flopper. I remember back when John Kerry was running for president 20 years ago. It's hard to believe, 21 years ago. Damn. Time is getting away from us, but he's running for president and they were like, he's a flip-flopper. He goes back and forth. He said that, you know, he voted for the war in Iraq and now he's opposed to it. He's a flip-flopper. And they used to use that term quite a bit. I remember Ross Perot before that. He was running for president. He actually wasn't doing too bad. And then he dropped out of the race because he said that they were like harassing his daughter, his family, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he drops out of the race for whatever reason. And then he decided, you know what? I'm going to get back in this race. I'm going to try again. I'm going to keep fighting. And people said, well, he's a flip-flopper. Can't trust him. He's all over the place. How could he make decisions for the country? But that's back when we held politicians to a higher standard. Now you can run your entire campaign on America first and then get up there and say, oh, no, we're all about the world now. And I just don't know how that his followers do it. That will always puzzle me, because I was sitting here yesterday criticizing the Democrats, saying you did not do what we voted for you to do. So I don't understand how they can just continue to roll with this dude. One person that's not rolling with this dude at the moment is the Susan Atkins to his Charles Manson. I never would have thought that Marjorie Taylor Green would have broke the way that she has. But here Trump is asked about it. And when he says that Marjorie has lost her way. And I don't know what it is. This, for whatever reason, just reminded me of a lot of cult documentaries that I've watched.
Caitlin? At a meeting with the Syrian president earlier today, Marjorie Taylor Green, who is a big ally of yours, said that she would rather see you focused on nonstop domestic policy meetings here at the White House instead of nonstop foreign policy meetings. What's your response to her saying that, and also saying that grocery prices are up and not down, as you've said?
Yeah, so I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think. But I have to view the presidency as a worldwide situation, not locally. I mean, we could have a world that's on fire where wars come to our shores very easily if you had a bad president. We had a horrible president, and we ended up with Russia, Ukraine.
Folks, I would like to talk to you about Chapter. Medicare is supposed to benefit seniors, but it can be so confusing. And with many agents chasing commissions instead of caring about folks, millions of seniors end up on plans that aren't right for them every year, paying too much or not getting the care that they need. And that's just wrong. Listen, Medicare annual enrollment runs from October 15th through December 7th. Even if you like your current Medicare plan, it's critical to look at 2026 plans or you risk losing coverage you need. That's because plans change every year and some just disappear. That's why I want you to know about Chapter. They're the only advisors that check every plan nationwide to make sure you get one that works best for you. Their help is free and they can review your options in under 20 minutes. If you're on the right plan, they'll tell you. If not, they'll help you switch. By doing this, they've saved people an average of $1,100 a year. So call Chapter today. Get it done fast and rest easy. You can reach them at 314-732-0423. You know, they always try to accuse us of having Biden or having Trump derangement syndrome. He's definitely got Biden derangement syndrome. He cannot talk without going back and talking about Joe Biden. He has to throw that in. Now, I'm not a fan of Marjorie Taylor Green. I'm not giving her any credit here on the channel, but I don't think that she's lost her way when she's criticizing him for not putting America first. She's pretty much sticking with the original plot that he had laid out. I may not agree with her or him, but when she says, this is why I'm upset with the president, it makes perfect sense to me because I'm going, well, at least, she's sticking with the script that they were originally on and he's not. And so it's always going to be mind-boggling to me how these people can jump through these hoops. But I do believe we're going to see more people like Marjorie Taylor Green begin to break from Donald Trump because they're going to see the ship sinking. They're going to realize that they've got political careers ahead of them, and they're going to have to step away from this dude eventually. So, as much as these people may frustrate us with their bullshit, what I think we need to do is we need to stay on point at all times. We need to stick to the issues at hand, and we need to work on rebranding the Democratic Party and getting it back to being the party of the working class. And we need to keep the script, and we need to stay on it, and we need to stay on point, and we need to hold people's feet to the fire and say, we want fighters. We don't want people who will fold. We want people who will go to bat for the American people, and we want people who will run on the issues that we care about and stand up and fight for them and give it back to this, because that's the type of inconsistent bullshit that we're up against. We're up against someone who just changes whichever way the wind blows. Whoever drops money in his face, again, he puts Trump first. It's always him. And so his followers, the most devout ones, the most loyal, they're always going to move with him wherever he goes. But we have to hold our side accountable and hope that we can get over the finish line and defeat MAGA once and for all. So we need to line up and we need to get behind candidates on the Democratic side that are willing to fight. And if they're not willing to fight, they just need to get out of the game. I've had a lot of people reach out to me over the video I did about how that I can't support people who cave. And, a lot of you give me some really valid points on why, maybe it was a good idea to reopen the government. Here's some things that are good. And I understand what you're saying. I don't think that we need to be fighting amongst ourselves. I've always said that. I've always been over here going, hey, we don't need fighting amongst ourselves on our side. But at the same time, in this particular moment, we have got to have people that will stand up and fight and hold the line. And we have to have people that's on the same page. And there were so many people that were sitting back saying, hey, we want you to go to bat for us, hold the line, don't cave. And they caved. And it's hard for me to find the silver lining in the cloud, although it may be, if anything, we can get rolling back on the Epstein files, which I'm going to be covering more in a later video. We can get back to talking about that, which we need to get back to talking about. But I don't want to see fighting on our side. But at the same time, I want to see people who are willing to go to bat. And we have to have a side that is united. We have to have a side that is together on this. And when you get a lot of fire and momentum underneath you and you're really moving and doing well, that's not the time to disappoint the base. Donald Trump doesn't have to worry about it anymore. He doesn't have to worry about disappointing Marjorie Taylor Green. And he doesn't have to worry about disappointing the trolls that have argued with me in the comment section for the last 10 years. He doesn't have to worry about them anymore. So he can come out and just completely change his game. But we can't. And I think that's the point that I've been trying to make. We can't change it up at this point in the game. We have to stay on point. We have to keep fighting the fight and taking it to them because it's not business as usual. That's the main thing that I would say. It's not business as usual. And like Timothy Snyder said in his book On Tyranny, the very first chapter is do not obey in advance. So I know there's going to be people say, but Brando, you got to work with this dude. No, no, we don't adapt to this dude because he does not believe in the Constitution. He does not believe in the rule of law. He does not believe in free and fair elections. So I wouldn't agree with him on a pizza topping. That's just me. I'm just not going to, because there's too much at stake. And we just have to stand solidly against him until we get him out of office, and then work to fix all the damage that he's done. And that won't be easy, but I do believe that we can. So thank y'all so much for listening. Thank you for sticking with me. We're really cruising here on the channel and gaining subscribers every day. So if you haven't already, be sure and hit that button. It doesn't cost anything to do so. So I just appreciate y'all so much for helping us to build this platform. I don't want to see fighting on our side. I want to see us coming together and fighting for the greater good and fighting for the American people, because right now people needs us more than ever. We have got a completely deranged lunatic in office, and I'm never going to let up off the fact that he's a deranged lunatic. I'm never going to look over like Stephen A. Smith and go, well, maybe we need to learn how to adapt to this authoritarianism. No, we do not adapt. We do not bend the knee. We do not fold. We fight back. There's just too much on the line, folks. We have to.